And welcome into the MLB Hot Stove Daily here at the Upside Sports Network. My name is Michael. Appreciate you guys joining us late on a Monday night. Sorry for the late start, anybody, but we're watching around for the Yankees and Rangers game to get finished. And boy, oh boy, what a game it was. We'll dig into all the specifics in that one. A walk-off home run from Josh Young after missing 4 games with a tight calf muscle. Incredible game all the way around from start to finish. Lots to get into in that one, both from a trade deadline perspective, the buyers and sellers at the deadline, how they ended up doing. We'll dig a little bit into the selling that the Twins have done, and then the majority of the video, we're going to talk a little bit about all the trade deadline acquisitions that these teams have gone out there and brought in, and then see how they've done. Did they make the right moves? Did they do enough? Did they do too little? Did they do too much? We'll get into all of that and more next here at the Upside. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe, and let's get into it. And welcome in, everybody. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe. We're going to start with the Yankees and Rangers game. Just an incredible game from start to finish. Rangers started out absolutely terrible. Patrick Corbin just did not have it. Finally, in the third inning, figured it out, but the Yankees had already scored 3 runs by that point. And for the fourth and through the rest of the game, pretty much, they went to John Gray. He was incredible for the Rangers. Only gave up a 2-run home run. That proved to be the difference for the Yankees until we get to the 9th inning. The Rangers, meanwhile, made Max Fried work in the second inning, got a 4-3 lead. Of course, they surrendered a 2-run homer in that fourth inning from John Gray. They go to the 9th anyway, not really getting much off of the rest of the bullpen. The bullpen additions have worked out great in the game for the Yankees today. Bednar looked absolutely dominant. Doval looked really good as well. Weak contact left and right. Rangers lineup looked really anemic at certain points, especially the 1 through 4 spots in the lineup. 5 through 9 looked really good all game long. They were able to get on against Max Fried, really put nice long at-bats up there against pretty much anybody they faced. The bottom of the lineup really came through for the Rangers today. So though this game would not have been anywhere close without the contributions of Jonah Heim, Ezekiel Duran, players like that. But a great job getting it to the ninth inning. And then you turn it over to Devin Williams, who's blown a couple of games so far, entered the game with a 5 ERA, so you knew there was going to be a chance. And Rangers went with a lot of pinch hitters to start the inning, and Jock Peterson comes up and absolutely unloaded into a changeup that hung a little bit too high into the zone. And if there was ever a player that needed to get off the monkey off his back, Jock Peterson is him. He was hitting 126, I believe, going into that bat with a slug percentage of 217. That's on the season, by the way, not on over a short 2 or 3 game stretch. That's over an entire season so far. Jock Peterson has not been very good all year long. This home run, man, did that unleash Jock Peterson, who went to the plate, by the way, booed by the home crowd there in Dallas, Arlington area. Just incredible home run. Hopefully this is the start of things to come for Jock Peterson. Boy, did he need that one. But we go to the 10th inning. Jake Berg, the Rangers were able to strand the runner at third and go to the bottom of the 10th anyway. They were unable to advance the runner for 2 hitters there. Seager was unable to get over to third base. They finally are able to get him. They finally get Wyatt Langford up there. They intentionally walk him. Jake Berg just absolutely make Marcus Semien look silly on a swing. And, Adolis Garcia was unable to do anything. And then Josh Young comes up and rips a 3-run home run to end the game. Just an incredible game from start to finish. If you guys do have the MLB package, I encourage you guys to check that one out, or at least look at the replays of it. It was a great game all the way around. But that was the one we were kind of waiting for before we got onto the air. So, looking at the trade deadline acquisitions for the Yankees, obviously things have not gone well recently. Aaron Boone said several comments to the media before the game today, speaking about how it feels like the earth is on fire, according to him. Understandably so. This is a team that was in first place in the AL East for basically the entire first half. Toronto, of course, took over right before the All-Star break and basically have been running away with the division to a certain extent. They played really strong baseball. The Yankees, meanwhile, their bats have been a little bit silent for a period of time. They have their good game here or there, but then their bullpen blows it, or they don't have enough starting pitching. They just haven't been playing really well-rounded baseball. If one area of the game is going well, the offense is putting up runs, then the starting pitching fails them. If the starting pitching is going well, offense is doing okay, then the bullpen blows a lead late. And that's more the same of what we saw today. They had a 3-game sweep for the first time ever against the Miami Marlins. They roll into town looking to take the first one against the Rangers, who dropped 3 of 4 to the Seattle Mariners, and their offense did not look very good in Seattle either. And they were able to figure out how to get to Max Fried early, get his pitch count up, get into the bullpen, which, with the track record they have on Friday against the Miami Marlins, hey, anybody is better than Max Fried when he's the ace of this team. Max Fried before June, I want to say June 4th, he had a 1.87 ERA, 1.89 ERA. In his last 12 starts now, including this one, his ERA is over 4. I think this start is actually going to balloon that ERA even higher. Max Fried hasn't been quite the same since the start of June. So Yankees fans will push pause on that conversation around Max Fried. But the bigger question is your bullpen blows it again. Do you still keep Devin Williams as your closer? Do you go ahead and move to Bednar, who looked really good today? Doval looked like he was encouraging weak contact anyway. Bird was not really a closer per se, more of a high leverage guy for the Rockies. The Halverson, I believe, had taken over the closer role later or earlier this season anyway for the Rockies. But Bird looked all over the place early in some of his, or to some of the hitters he was facing, but he was effective with it. Made Marcus Semien look silly, like I said, but who do you ultimately turn to as your closer? You keep Devin Williams there for another one? Do you give him one more shot? Or do you go to Bednar? If I'm the managing of this team, I'm going ahead and I'm moving Bednar back there. That's what he's been doing well all season long. I think moving out of that spot into an 8th inning setup role, into a non-closer role really threw him off in this first outing. He's since corrected that. I think he's the better option as far as a closer. He has more weapons in his tool bag than a Devin Williams, and Devin Williams is a free agent after the year. So go ahead and put Bednar back there. Put Williams in there as kind of the setup guy for you. Weaver looked good. He was in the 6th inning today. He's been a closer at times for the Yankees. But they have lots of options back there. I don't want to hear from Yankees fans saying, oh, we don't have anybody who can't get out. You have lots of options. Now you got to figure out which player or which arm to deploy in certain situations. And for me, that means Bednar is now my closer, and then I mix and match with the rest of the arms there the rest of the game. So we'll see what happens for the Yankees going forward. But they got 2 more here against Texas. They go up against Eovaldi tomorrow. That's going to be a tough assignment for the Yankees offense without Aaron Judge, by the way. Should be an uphill battle. Meanwhile, the Rangers, I believe, will be facing Will Warren for the New York Yankees. And the offense, the bottom of that lineup, was what allowed this Rangers team to stay in it all game long. And ultimately what caused them to tie it late because of the pinch hit by Jock Peterson, and then win it late with the home run, the walk-off home run from Josh Young. So we'll see what happens for Texas. They got to get that 1 through 4 in the order, get working here. Josh Smith is just swinging too early in counts, in my opinion, just rolling over fastball after rolling over fastball to second base. He's turning into Corey Seager in that way, and he doesn't have Corey Seager's pop. He needs to knock that off and kind of see more pitches in the bat. But we'll see. I'm sure he'll correct that. But the 1 through 4 needs to start coming through a little bit more productively if the Rangers are going to do anything down the stretch here as they try to make it to October. As far as the trade deadline arms for Texas, Maton's looked really solid back there. Colomb took the ball again today, had a little bit of a shaky at-bat against Volpe, I believe. Ended up giving up a walk, but was able to get a nice tapper back to the mound for a double play that he threw a strike down to second to Corey Seager. Just an incredible job by Danny Colomb. There was a lot said about the Rangers not adding a bat here at the deadline, said by me as well. I'm still of the belief that they should have added a bat here. But the pitching so far has been very good. Merrill Kelly's looked good. All 3 of the additions look good so far for Texas. The question is going to be, are they going to be able to put enough runs on the scoreboard for it to matter? So we'll see. Let me dig into a lot of your comments here, and then we'll get into our bigger portion of the show here. Walk-off Young, yes. Jocks is so ticked. He said hitting 125 with 3 home runs and 7 RBIs. You're forgetting. Now it's 3 home runs and 7 RBIs. Before the home run today, it was only 2. Astros needed this win, but I got bad news for Boston. This time they are coming to Houston. Houston will get revenge. We shall see. Houston did not play well in Boston anyway. Boston ended up getting the sweep there. Carlos Correa hit his first home run again first home run in his return to the Houston Astros. Astros played well tonight against the Miami Marlins, who just swept the Yankees as well. So good news there for Houston. Welcome in, Lucas. Ethan, welcome in. Young clean up and move Adolis to 6. I'm not ready to do that yet. I still want to keep Josh Young in that 6th spot behind Wyatt Langford. I like that stack. I don't want to mess with that. Now, as far as a one-hitter, I'm still not sold on who should be that spot. Because Josh Smith, if he keeps swinging at the first pitch, you're getting to Marcus Semien with 2 batters already gone in the inning, facing maybe 3 pitches, and then Marcus Semien has to work the count, roll over a pitch in the inning in the first. I'm wondering if they do something different there. Corey Seager, to me, I'm leaving in that 2 spot, but that leadoff spot, the 3 and the 4 spot, could be up for grabs. But I'm not moving that combination of Wyatt Langford and Josh Young. If I'm moving Josh Young up, I'm moving Wyatt Langford up as well. Maybe there's a conversation to be had about moving Semien back up to the top spot in the order and allowing him to see a few more pitches than Josh Smith. So we'll see there. Welcome in, Lucas. Aiden, Yankees so bad? Well, that bullpen failed them tonight. The offense did enough even without Aaron Judge in the lineup, and ultimately they failed them there. You're done watching the Yankees? I still have a lot of faith in the Yankees. I still believe they're going to make the postseason. Red Sox, I think, are an incredibly streaky team this year. You know, one week they have 6 wins. The next week they have 5 losses. It's what happens when you have a young team. And I'm not saying that's anything bad for the Boston Red Sox. I'm just saying I have questions about them making October this season. Going forward, I think the Red Sox are going to be a bit of a juggernaut. Pitching is going to be a paramount for them to try to get another, 1 or 2 type starter in that rotation for them next year. Adding to that bullpen is going to be an imperative as well, figuring out what they're going to do in the long term for the outfield with Duran. But that Red Sox team is just a little too streaky for me this year. That's why I predicted them to now finish outside of the playoff picture looking in. Yankees, I think, will be able to correct this. Their starting pitching, I have questions about. Their bullpen, I think they'll figure it out. Aaron Boone is too good of a manager. I know there's a lot of Yankees fans out there that say, get rid of Aaron Boone. It's a tough job, don't get me wrong. It's a very tough job. Aaron Boone would tell you he could do certain things better. Today, he did just about everything he could right, And ultimately, it was on Devin Williams to get that out there to a batter hitting 126, to not leave a changeup hitting just sitting right there center square, and just wasn't able to get the job done. That's on Devin Williams. Boone pulled all the right strings, even with Aaron Judge being out, and they just were not able to get the job done. Steven, welcome in. Brandon, welcome in. Jay's in the game with 25 hits and 4 Ks. Wow. I haven't checked in on most of the scoreboard here. We'll check on that here in just a moment. That's a lot of hits, though. Kyle Schwarber, NL MVP. I don't think so. I think there's a few other guys I'd put ahead of him, but he's at least in the conversation of one of the most impactful players for sure. MVP, maybe. Look, the Astros will love facing the Rangers in Houston when we get our pitchers back. We will see anyway. Let's see here. Try to catch up on a few of these comments here. You are about to get a lot of guys back on the pitching side. Jordan could be a little bit more time, though. Yankees offered more than Texas for Jake Bird. Now they want to veto. Bednar will be closer. Devin in the 8th. I still like that combination a little bit better. I like Bednar back there in the 9th inning as well. For me, anyway, I just think he's a better closer than he is an 8th inning setup guy. And even though he's good today, I just would rather have him the closer role. He's more consistent than Devin Williams. Dustin, is it the case that the Yankees have too many closers? I don't think so. I just think they did a lot of what they did, say, what was it, 8 years ago, give or take, when they built up that incredible bullpen with Chapman, Miller, Betances, players along those lines. They really built up the Britton as well. They had all closers there. Any one of them would have been a closer on any other team, but that bullpen was loaded. They're kind of doing the same thing here with a little bit more of a discount version of that. I'm not going to say that, the Dollar Tree version of that, but I'm going to say that, Williams, who's got a 5 ERA, is not exactly Zach Britton. Aroldis Chapman is not exactly Bednar. Doval is not exactly Betances. And Bird isn't exactly Andrew Miller either. So I would still say the bullpen of years past was better, but I think that was what they were shooting for with the moves that they made this year. Luke Weaver as well. They got 5 good arms back there. It's just a matter of working them in the right spots, and I think their bullpen will be just fine eventually. I do have questions about their lineup if Aaron Judge is able to come back and play effectively. Apparently he's been swinging in the cages since he's gone on the IL, so he could be coming back off the 10-day IL as soon as that 10 days is over. He'll welcome in. So proud of Jock and Young. No kidding. About time for Jock Peterson and Josh Young. Great home run there. Mark, I don't know what it is about Texas. The talent is there. The pitching is the best in MLB. It really comes down to if Young can stay hot. If so, then maybe a serious World Series contender. I'll put it this way. Evan Grant put it just right in this tweet that he just put out about 10 minutes ago or so. Let me pull it up for you guys. Welcome in, Ultimate. Appreciate you joining us. All right, so look at this tweet here. Let me do this first. Okay. One other thing from Evan Grant. Don't let Josh Young get to a spot where his emotions might energize this team. That might be dangerous. If there's anybody who could be a long-term emotional driver for this club, it's him. The Rangers really don't have an emotional leader in the clubhouse. I mean, you got Adolis Garcia who leads with emotion when he's going well, but he hasn't been going well all season. Marcus Simeon's more of a lead-by-example kind of a dude. Will, take you aside if you ask him to, that kind of a thing. On the pitching side, they got all the good leadership there that you'd want with Eovaldi and DeGrom. They got a lot of good veterans back there in that bullpen mix as well. A lot of young guys that are coming through as well. But the offense, Corey Seager is not exactly a rah-rah kind of a guy. Josh Young, before the season even began, was basically like, this offense we're not going to go out there to just try to win against these teams. We're going out there to try to dominate. And they don't really have anybody who's kind of that, affirmative type of influence in their lineup. And if he can go on a roll, he could be that type of influence here. He could kind of follows up here, says he's got the most positive energy of any position player side. He just needs to contribute for that to matter. True. If he was hitting 240, that positivity isn't going to carry over to the rest of the ball club. But if he's hitting 270, 280 and continues to hit like this, I mean, that's a different type of a player. That's a player that's impactful in the lineup just by his presence. And that's something that I think Texas would really like to have. They had that when he first came up to the big leagues. They've had that in years past. but injuries have really sapped the ability for him to stay healthy and on the field for that to really matter in any significant way. And the performance during the month of June was not exactly great. One of the worst stretches of his career. Now that he's starting to hit a lot better, hopefully he can get back to being the player that we all came to love when he was coming up through the minors for the Rangers all those years ago. All right, that's enough Rangers talk. Let's try to get into a lot of the other scores from around Major League Baseball. We'll go over to our scoreboard here first. Let me update the numbers first. I don't like going off of old numbers. All right, so Angels currently winning 5-1 against Tampa Bay. LA and Cardinals tied at 1 in the 7th, or about to go into the 8th anyway. Padres losing 5-2 against the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks, now that the deadline is over, hopefully they can start to play a little bit better brand of baseball. They were playing abysmally poor for about a month there out there in Arizona. Giants lose 5-4 against the Pirates. Not exactly a great showing for them after they sold at the deadline. They need to get some positive momentum here towards the end of the season to try to go into free agency with a head of steam and saying, hey, we're this far away, guys. We added at the deadline. It didn't work out. We got Devers. We got Adames. We brought in Justin Verlander for legitimacy. Now he's gone in free agency. That money is freed up. We're going to go out there and add another, top-level starting pitcher. We're going to add one more impact bat. Who's going to take the money from San Francisco? That's going to be a big headline around the winter meetings. But right now, not a good look losing to the Pirates today. Tigers 6-3 winners over the quadruple A Minnesota Twins. Their offense is not bad there in Minnesota. They do have some options that do have major league experience. But on the pitching side, especially in that bullpen, nobody back there besides Stans and Topa really has much experience. And that's basically a quadruple A ball club. Finnegan gets the save there for the Tigers today, so hopefully he continues to work out for the Tigers. They kind of did a lot of budget shopping there at the deadline. We mentioned the Astros' dominance over the Marlins today, 8-2. Marlins again just coming off that sweep against the Yankees, unable to manufacture enough runs against the Astros. The offense coming through there. Sandy Alcantara had a great lead up into going into the trade deadline. Ended up surrendering 5 runs in the 4th inning, not able to get it done there. Phillies drummed the Orioles 13-3. Red Sox hold on against the Royals after a 4-run 8th inning, closed the gap there a little bit. But Chapman gets his 21st save of the season there. Guardians win in 10 against the Mets 7-6. Tough loss there for the Mets there. Helsley taking the loss in that one. Let's see. Guardians were able to put on 2 on the board on that one, so that sucks. I know you got the ghost runner out that second, but you'd hope he'd be able to hold it down and just unable to do so there. Braves fall again, 3-1. They didn't do enough at the trade deadline, and it shows. Priester gets his 11th win of the season. He was one of the best trade acquisitions of the entire season. Really underrated about, a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. He's been really great for them. The Braves just trying to tread water here through the season, bringing in Carrasco, Fetty, and others just to kind of give them some innings. They get some out of Fetty today. Cubs drop again here. Reds playing some really great baseball. They're tied for the 3rd best record in all of baseball for about the last month and a half. So the Cincinnati Reds playing a good brand of baseball. Cubs had the 4th best record there as well. We just mentioned a lot about the Rangers and Yankees game. You can see how the Rangers were able to take it late with the 3-run walk-off home run in that 10th inning there. Let's see here. And then the last game here, the Blue Jays, 15-1 over the Rockies. Wow. Lauer continues to play well as well. 25 hits. That's a lot of hits. 7-run 3rd, 5-run 7th, another run in the 9th. They just tack on there. Blue Jays playing well there. All right, Jays extend Bieber and sign Framber and Kyle Tucker this offseason. Let's do it. I would love that offseason for the Jays. Honestly, that's not out of the realm of possibility. To me, if Bieber comes back and performs the way we hope he will for the Blue Jays down the stretch here, he could be a real force for them in that rotation. Remember, most of the Toronto Blue Jays front office all came from Cleveland. Almost every single member of it came from Cleveland at one point or another. So they obviously have a lot of experience with Shane Bieber. They got to be hopefully comfortable with the medicals and that Bieber can come back and be the Cy Young version of himself. That would be a great get for them. And then as far as Framber Valdez, I think that's going to be a player that's going to be up for grabs at the winter meetings. I think he's going to get a hefty price tag. I think the Jays are going to be right in there. I think a number of teams that need starting pitchers, including the Mets, the Cubs, etc., will be in there as well. And then we'll see if Houston ultimately ponies up there for Framber Valdez. I think the price will still be within their budget to be able to do so. Kyle Tucker this offseason, that number is going to be big, man. We're talking another $400+ million contract for the Jays. I'm not saying they won't do it or that they can't do it, but I'm going to say it's going to be a tough stretch, especially if they still have other holes on this roster. Springer's played well for them this year. Barger's been a little bit of a big performer for them. Guerrero is now locked up. You got to be able to sign Bichette. I think if they're going to sign a position player, it's going to be Bo Bichette before they turn to a Kyle Tucker. Extend Bo as well. Yes, that's kind of what I think they should do primarily. By the way, Astros can match the Rangers. By the way, Jordan is the Astros X Factor. Yes, the question is, can he stay in the lineup? Can he get in the lineup first? I want to see him in the lineup first before I make any judgments about the rest of this Astros team, because that gap out there in the AL West is closing and closing and closing and closing. It was 2.5 games at the start of play today with the Mariners, 4.5 with the Rangers. That was not the case, say, 30 days ago. That was a 10-game spread with the Rangers. That spread has gotten down a little bit there to a uncomfortable level if I'm an Astros fan. Mark, welcome in. Appreciate you joining us once again. Delighted to see Young walk it off, Jace, with 25 hits in Denver. Coors Field, everybody thinks is a hitter's park, and it is. Elevation, all that kind of a thing, but it hasn't played that way for quite a period of time this season. Of course, you have higher offensive outputs every now and again, but by and large, offense hasn't been as good as in years past. I don't think it has necessarily anything to do with the pitching that the Rockies are offering or that the other teams are bringing there to Denver. I just think that the Coors effect, the playing at altitude, might not be affecting the game the same way that we are used to seeing it. For instance, in Wrigley, we always think of that as more of a hitter-friendly ballpark. The winds last year knocking the ball in really drove down the run scoring in that game. In that stadium last year. We're seeing that at different points during this year with Wrigley Field as well. So, even though a field may feel historically a hitter or a pitcher-friendly ballpark, it might not always be the case. For instance, the Rangers have that the indoor retractable roof ballpark. It's generally played to a larger ballpark, yes, but it wasn't necessarily as cavernous as it's playing to this year. It's certainly playing to a pitcher-friendly ballpark. Balls are just dying out there in center field as well. Just notice I haven't changed this graphic on there. Let me get rid of that. But we'll get rid of that in our next video. Let's see here. Astros, Rangers, Yankees, Red Sox, and Mariners. Be like this. Wild card race is intense. Angels and Artie Moreno, I know in the background. Every other team in the background. I'll put it this way. I still think that the Angels, if these teams really falter, they could climb up there and be a surprise, but I'm not expecting it. Can you see some big-time trades happening during the waiver deadline? No, that's not a thing. Waiver deadline is no longer a thing. The trade deadline is now it. There's not a waiver trade deadline that there used to be through August. That is now gone. 17 singles, 9 of which were under 85 miles an hour. Poor Rockies pitchers, just unable to get anything there. I'd say Kyle Tucker signs with the Mets for $14,400, and they put Soto in left or DH. That'd be a good option. They're putting their $700 DH. True, I'll agree with you there. Do you think it's also possible that the Rockies are finally teaching their prospects on the pitcher side how to pitch to contact instead of velocity? No, I don't have any faith in that Rockies development staff. I don't have any faith in that Rockies front office. I'm not giving them credit for something that's a bit of an aberration. Their bullpen arms pitched well this year. Maybe that has something to do with it, but I'm not giving them credit one iota out there in Colorado. Sorry, Rockies fans. I just don't think your coaching staff, I don't think your front office, I don't think your player development side, I don't think your minor league coordinators have been very good at all. And it's a wonder that they've got Chase Dollander to perform as well as he had. And they've got a wonder as far as a couple of nice relievers. But other than that, they haven't been able to develop really any players for that roster. Considering how offensive-minded this ballpark plays, how offense-forward it plays, it just hasn't been that way for the Rockies. They should have been taking advantage of that and playing to those advantages there in Coors. This is the kind of win you can get Texas on a roll. True. Couldn't agree with you more on that one. It was really a team win. I think that injected a lot of energy into the ball club. That really, the win streak that they had going into the road trip with the Angels and Mariners, two ballparks where they really have struggled over the past 3 years. They were able to scrape a couple of wins out of it, but unable to salvage a split in Seattle. Really does hurt their chances to make the postseason this year, especially in front of Seattle. Seattle now owns the tiebreaker in front of them. They're going to have to play incredible ball with less than 50 games to go now in the season. We'll see if they can get it done. If the Jays played in Coors as their home field, they'd average 8 runs a game. I mean, they do have a lot more talent. I'll put it that way. They have a lot more talent than the Rockies do. Do you think Michael eventually? What's going to happen? Coors Field has been around for almost 30 years. Eventually, do you think Rockies build a new stadium becomes pitcher friendly? No, I don't think it's going to be hey, we change our stadium and suddenly it becomes pitcher friendly. I just think it's more of fix your front office first, fix your player development second, fix your minor league staffs third, fix your major league staff last. Until that's done, the Rockies are going to continue to struggle as well. Like you saw with the Rangers, their old stadium basically hitter friendly. Pitchers hated playing in the ballpark opened up. The Rangers ballpark, the one that's right across the street now, Choctaw Stadium, it was just so hot. Pitchers didn't really want to play in the summer heat. That was a big part of it. But you also had the jet stream, planes literally flying right over the field, and the jet stream out to right center. That ballpark played a little differently. The dimensions were a little bit different. They tried to mimic some of that to a certain extent with the new ballpark, but they tried to tie in a lot of history with the measurements of certain field lengths and that kind of a thing. And I think with the way the jet stream is no longer there when they have the stadium closed, I think the way the air conditioners are positioned, I think is actually part of the science is why the ball is deadening a little bit more, especially out towards center field. Last year that wasn't the case. I'm wondering if they changed the positioning of some of those air conditioners and it might be knocking those balls down to the cooler air, pushing that ball downward. That's a possibility. But they'll look into it in the offseason and figure out why balls just aren't traveling out to center field anymore. All right, let's check in on the state. Actually, I want to check in the Mariners game. Or the Mariners don't play today. Let me update these scores first before we go over to the standings. I want to update those 3 games. 5-1 still. Cardinals have taken a 2-1 lead over the Dodgers. Still the same score out there, D-backs and Padres. All right, looking through play today, where are we at? Well, let's start with the divisions. Then we'll do the wild card. Jays currently are winning the AL East over the Red Sox by 3. Tigers by 8 in the Central. Looks like they're going to hold on there. Astros, they won today, so they can move a half game up in the AL West. Now a 3-game advantage over the Mariners, while the Rangers stay flat there at 4.5. Back there, Angels too far back at 8.5. NL side, Phillies on top of the Mets by a game and a half there. Marlins, in the rearview mirror, but they were not there a month ago. They deserve credit. They are baseball's best team over the past 60. I believe they're the best team in baseball over the last 30 games. I think the Brewers are right there as well. But 4 teams in the National League, best records in baseball over the last month and change. Reds are one of those teams playing really well, but they're 9.5 back. They don't really have a prayer at the NL Central. And in the NL West, Dodgers, of course, leading with the Padres 3 back and the Giants 9.5 back, far back in the rearview mirror there. Let's look at the wild card race because this is where it's going to be fun. Look at the AL wild card. Yankees, Mariners tied for that final spot, or second to final spot anyway. Rangers a game and a half back now with the win today. If they sweep the Yankees, which isn't out of the realm of possibility, you got Eovaldi going against Warren tomorrow. I think the Rangers win that one going away. Then you're looking at only a half game separating those 2 teams. Mariners, they're playing the White Sox. I'm going to go ahead and say they win tomorrow. I think that's going to put them into the second wild card spot firmly above the Yankees. And then in the 3rd game of that series, who do they have going on Wednesday? I can't remember who they have pitching. Rodon versus Leiter. The Yankees should win that one. So hopefully they can win one of the 3 games there in Texas. It's a 1:30 start Central Time. We actually might do that game on Wednesday. We shall see. Let us know in the chat if you guys want us to do that game. Welcome in, Adam. Does Duran get sent down when Berger comes back, or does Tellez get released? Honestly, Duran played well, and he's got the multi-positional flexibility. I think Tellez has always been a short-term opportunity. He's played really well for Texas since being up on the big league club. I think he's hitting like 275, and his on-base percentage is over 300 since he's been with the Rangers. He's been very good. The question is, who do you leave on this roster? Jock Peterson, I thought might have been a candidate to go on the injured list once Jake Berger got back. With the home run he hit tonight, I think Bochy's going to ride the hand here and try to see if he can get Jock Peterson going here, playing well. But Duran, I think, is going to be the guy that stays. If they do activate Jake Berger at some point here soon, I think Tellez would be the guy that ultimately gets sent back down to the minors. Michael, with Miami, in order for them to get into the wild card, how many games or how many series overall do they have to win? Let's go with series, because I'm not going to say games. Series, though, right now you're 6.5 back of the wild card. It's unlikely. I think you're pretty much going to have to see them go, I don't know, maybe win all but maybe 2 of the series the rest of the way. You're going to have to see a couple of sweeps there. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They're playing much better baseball. They're going to have to pull out a couple of games against Houston here to really have a chance. I don't think they catch them, but I think they're at least, this is the first times we've seen the Marlins really play well as a team in a while here. So, I just enjoy the good baseball if I'm a Marlins fan and just hope it lasts as long as it does. I don't think you sniff the postseason, but I think you're playing incredible baseball right now, and you deserve a tip of the cap. They're playing really strong. Maybe they can pass the Giants here tomorrow night. We'll see. Mike Soroka got injured in his debut. Ouch! That sucks, Sean. Sorry about that. Do the game heal? I just might. I got to check my schedule. I believe I'm off on Wednesday. I got to ask the missus if it's all right if I take some time out of her time with me to do the game. But we'll have we might do that instead of our afternoon live that we were doing during our trade deadline coverage. Do that instead and do a Yankees-Rangers game. I think that'd work pretty well. Maybe kind of flip around in between a bunch of games as well. Talk a lot about the impact of the deadline guys. Those kinds of things. But looking at the wild card race here on the AL side, I think things are going to get very tight here between these 3 teams over the next few weeks. If I had to guess which team pulls ahead, I think the Red Sox come back to the pack here. I still have enough faith in the Yankees for them to go ahead and jump up here a little bit. Same thing with the Mariners. I think they're playing really good ball right now. I don't think they're as good as everybody thought they were at the trade deadline. I think they still have some big holes, specifically that their pitching needs to continue to perform, but we'll see. Does anyone sign Marcus Stroman? Yes, somebody will pick him up at some point for arms. For instance, the Braves could just sign him right now and just say, hey, go out there and throw every 5th day. We just need somebody to be healthy in our rotation. Leiter's improving. He can beat Rodon. I'm not saying he can't, but the Yankees have the upper hand. Leiter has the future ace potential. Got his, I think he gave up, 1 or 2 runs. He left the game with 1 run in that game against Seattle, but he threw so many pitches that he had to come out early. I think Leiter's going to have to work on being more effective with his pitch count, be more economical, attack the strike zone a little bit more, and not be afraid for some weak contact. Hunt for that weak contact so he can get ahead of hitters and get deeper into ball games, finish off hitters once he gets to 2 strikes. He really struggled with that at the early parts of the year. His last start against the Seattle Mariners, a lot of foul balls with 2 strikes, cost him to go deeper in that, or cost him the opportunity to go deeper in that one. We'll see how he does against the Yankees on Wednesday as well. But that's kind of a really interesting race heating up there in the wild card. I still think the Red Sox are on another streak here, but I'm thinking there's another streak coming here, a poor play, but we shall see. Incredibly streaky team goes on another streak. What a shocker. On the NL side, I think the Brewers, they're playing some of the best baseball, and, they've played all year. I think they're going to probably run away with the division at this point. Run away with, meaning probably finish, 5, 6, 7 games above the Cubs, somewhere in that range. Dodgers, I think, ultimately win the division there. They're playing some solid baseball right now. I'm not saying they're playing great, but they certainly aren't, tripping over themselves like they were at certain points in the first half. Phillies, a 1.5 games up on the Mets for the NL East lead. I think their team is very deep. I think they've plugged a lot of holes, and I think they have less holes on themselves right now than the Mets do. Mets, to me, still needed a starter for October, and I just think that's where they'll ultimately come up a little bit short there. Padres made all those deadline acquisitions. They're playing really strong baseball, 7-3 in their last 10. Playing against Arizona. Let's see if they ultimately are able to pull that one out. Oops. Go back there. Stop jumping around on me. Okay. Let me close this. Go to our scores again and get the most updated stuff. Still 5-2, so it looks like they're going to drop one. Dodgers tied it in the bottom half. There you go. They got Brock Stewart on for the 9th. Okay. Interesting game out there on the West Coast between the Dodgers and Cardinals as well. All right, before we head out for the evening, I just kind of want to crystallize a couple of thoughts. Yankees bullpen right now is the Family Guy segment. They come in and it's over. I wouldn't say it's quite that bad, but I will say the Yankees bullpen just needs to figure out how they're going to line up, and they need to get some consistency. Throw with conviction. I think we saw that with Bednar tonight. If he does turn out to be the 8th inning guy, I do think it's a missed opportunity because I think he's the better option for closer, but we shall see. Devin Williams, maybe it's just another bad spot for him tonight. Maybe he comes back and bounces back tomorrow. Weaver looked good today, but he's had ups and downs so far this season. And then Bird looked really good in the 10th anyway until that 3-run home run to Josh Young. Gives him a different kind of a look out of the bullpen there. So for the Yankees bullpen, I do think that it will come together. I just think it's going to take another week or so for them to kind of figure out roles. And I do think this Yankees team is still a really good team, even with Aaron Judge limited to being a DH. If he's not able to DH, say that injury just, he's not able to get the right swing off or his power is sapped or whatever the case may be, that's where I have my worries with Aaron Judge. Then that offense I might have some questions about going down the stretch here. But they certainly did try to address their issues against left-handed pitching. We'll have to see on Austin Slater's injury if that's anything serious or not. But he pulled himself out of the game today in the first inning against the Rangers. So we'll keep an eye on that one, as well as the Soroka injury for the Cubbies. But the last couple of things I wanted to crystallize is just because you win the trade deadline, win the offseason, get a big bat, or trade away a lot of pieces, does not indicate one way or another, or does not define how your season finishes. The Rangers didn't add a bat. To me, this is the front office and Bruce Bochy telling them, hey, guys, we got all the weapons we need this offseason. It's time for you guys to put it up here. Because if you guys aren't going to put up, we ain't going to be able to get to the postseason. Our season's over. So do you want to go ahead and make it to October? Then pick up the pace here. If not, let's go ahead and pack it in. What are we doing here? On the reverse side of this, they certainly upgraded their strength, adding to their starting staff, adding 2 arms to their bullpen, which, by the way, looks really good so far. Robert Garcia had his couple of blown outings in Seattle. That's the one issue that I still see in that bullpen being an issue, is they didn't bring in a closer. So we'll see if they trust Garcia again, or if they end up going with Spores when he comes back in the middle to late August here. So he could be an option some point down the line. Tyler Mahley's coming back in about a month. We'll see how this rotation ultimately stacks up. John Gray was dominant today. Rangers have a lot of pitching that's going to be on their offense to come through. For the Yankees, I'm just going to urge everybody to be cautious because, I still think this team is going to make the postseason. I still think they're going to go on a run of some kind, but it's going to hinge a lot on that bat of Aaron Judge, because if it comes through, they're going to come through in spades. If it doesn't, this thing could be a DOA. It's just not a season that's gone well for the Yankees from any stretch of the imagination. You have the injury to Garrett Cole. Stanton misses a couple of months and looks like he's going to need off-season elbow surgery in both elbows. Luis Gil misses a couple of months. Aaron Judge now going to miss likely is missing time right now, but unable to play the field the rest of the way. They have a great starting staff anyway, even with that being in consideration, with Fried coming in, Rodon being as good as he's been this year. And then at the back half, that's where they really needed to have that length of Garrett Cole, so they didn't have to have such a revolving door back there. Schlitter's been good at times so far this year for them in the couple of starts they've asked from him, but Stroman was just didn't have it. Will Warren's had his good and bad moments this year, but this Yankees rotation will be better next year when they have Garrett Cole in there. But it's just been a bit of a snake bit year for the Yankees from an injuries perspective. Nobody's going to feel sad for them. Nobody's going to sit there and give them a pass. Still have to go out there and win the games. Still about winning championships, not winning the division or getting into the postseason for the Yankees. It's about getting those pennants, getting those rings, getting that commissioner's trophy. it's not best. It's not good enough for second place there in New York. And you know, even with the issues they had this season, they've given themselves a really nice chance with the bullpen additions they've made. So just pump the brakes. I want to see how Aaron Judge does when he comes back, if he comes back, and then we'll make our decisions as far as where this team ultimately goes. If he's unable to play the field and unable to be a force as he was offensively, then this Yankees team probably does slide a little bit here, and then it's going to probably be between the Red Sox and Yankees for that final wild card spot. Because again, I just think that Red Sox team, as good as they're playing right now, they're incredibly streaky. Win 6 games, win or lose 5 more. It's just the way things go for the Red Sox with such a young roster. You'd hope Bregman, Chapman, some of the other older veterans on that roster be able to get these guys to be a little bit more consistent. But so far that has not been the case. Maybe the more experience they get, they'll be better. But can they do it in the final 50 games of the season remains to be seen. So those are kind of our final thoughts tonight. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe. Just down at the bottom, hit that like if you wouldn't mind doing so. It does help us out quite a bit. We're going to be back doing our lives every single weekday evening around 9:45 ideally. We might go a little bit later like tonight if we're watching in one of the closer games out there. We might start early if it's one of my off days and have a longer video. But really do appreciate you guys joining us and continuing to stick with us after the trade deadline. We'll get into a little bit of basketball and, or not basketball, into the NFL lives here in a little bit as well with training camps underway and the season about a month away. We'll get into some of those as well. Some of you guys are anxious for their fantasy football coverage again. We don't do too much, but we'll try to do a little bit of that for you guys as well. Anthony, Michael, is it too late for the Cubs to come back and win the division for the Brewers? It's not too late, but I think the Brewers are just so good right now. I just don't think they're going to be able to do it. With Miami, you think adjusting all their minor league ballparks and their Major League One will make it more hitter-friendly while still having it be a good pitcher park? Honestly, I don't think you should do anything as far as the parks. I think you just stick with it and try to work and just develop your roster because you still play 81 games away from those ballparks. You got to still be able to hit the ball. Got to be able to make contact. Got to be able to strike guys out. Got to be able to avoid giving up, easy walks. Not throwing quality pitches. If you're missing outside the zone, make it a purpose pitch. Throw it up and in. Throw it just a couple inches off the plate. Don't miss by 3 feet. And at times from the Marlins over the last few years, we've seen kind of uncompetitive at-bats, uncompetitive pitches. And that's where it really kind of fizzles out there for the Marlins. This is where they're having a good season this year. Continue with that positive momentum. In the offseason, we'll see if they move Cabrera or Alcantara. I think they move at least one, maybe both of those guys, but we shall see. All right, but appreciate you guys joining us. Hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. We'll be back live tomorrow night. I do have to work a little bit later tomorrow. We'll still probably start around 9:45, 10 o'clock. Well, it depends on that Yankees-Rangers game. For some reason, Yankees games always seem to run long for whatever the reason. It's not necessarily a nationally televised game today anyway, but we'll see. Eovaldi on the mound tomorrow should be a great game. He was the American League Pitcher of the Month with a .46 ERA. Paul Skeens, the NL Pitcher of the Month with a .59 ERA. Eovaldi, if he qualifies with innings anyway by the end of the season, he should be the far and away the American League Cy Young. I understand Scooball's been great this year, but Eovaldi's been on another level. Just the question is just the innings, the amount of innings that he's gone up there. He needs to go out there and post a little bit down the stretch here in order to get it done. If he does, that could be one of the first ever Cy Youngs we've seen won by a Rangers pitcher in a very, very long time. All right. Appreciate you guys joining us. We'll see you guys again tomorrow around 9:45. Stay safe out there, everybody.